we've had a bit of interest in our workshops, and unfortunately, a few of you said you couldn't make it in person, and we couldn't really agree on a time that worked for everyone. So we thought we'd pre-record, and that way you can watch it whenever suits you, and you've got the ability to speed me up or slow me down, pause and play as you like. And I'll also be attaching a PDF download for you, which contains a workbook that goes along with the information that we're going to give you today. So I'm going to talk to you about living a nice, long, healthy life, so longevity, including a bit of a chat around chronic disease, its prevention, and how we can work on reversing it for those of you that might already have it, or even to be able to help somebody in your family that might have it. So I will move on to our next slide and just run over our mission here at IOPC. So IOPC's mission is to improve your quality of life and offer a refined understanding and appreciation for the cultivation of good health. That's something that we're so extremely passionate about. So our goal is to always help you achieve yours, and that's why we'll get very excited when we're talking to you about your goals, and you'll hear me in particular ask you a lot about your goals and what you're hoping to achieve, because we want to help you get there. And we want to help you by doing that. We want to help you by helping you to understand and break through any limiting beliefs you may have, and outlining your desired accomplishments. So really, refining what you want to achieve and creating the stepping stones on how we can help you do that. All right, so first and foremost, what is chronic disease? Now, chronic diseases are long-term health conditions that develop gradually but persist over time. And a lot of times we can have them without even knowing them, which is really quite the scary part. They're often caused by a combination of genetic, environmental, and lifestyle factors. So yes, there are those of us that are more inclined to be susceptible to certain chronic diseases because they run in our family, but that doesn't mean you've got this signed death sentence. Like, we can definitely help in ways we can control, like with our environment and our lifestyle factors, to help stave off and perhaps even eradicate chronic disease altogether. All right, so what some chronic diseases are, let me just bring that up for you. So we've got heart disease, so things like hypertension, high blood pressure. There's cancers, chronic lung disease, stroke, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, and chronic kidney disease. Now, I'm not going to go too much into each individual one today, but we just want to have a look at factors that can help us stay away, or keep them at bay, and help us to live a long, healthy, and fun life. All right, as always, prevention is better and more affordable than a cure. So our goal is to help you understand how to live a life that prevents you from being more susceptible to these diseases. And it's really important to have the mindset of, like, while investing in your health and fitness can be expensive, having chronic disease is going to cost you your life potentially, and shorten your lifespan, and cost you time with your family, cost you medical bills and things like that. So in the big picture, it's so much more affordable to be healthy and to invest in your health than it is to be sick and unwell and to have to find a cure and things like that. So it's something that we really want to work towards preventing rather than waiting. Not that it's ever too late, but or that, it can be too late, but the idea is the earlier we can work on getting us at the furthest possible distance away from sickness, the better off we're going to be. All right, so on our next slide here, you can see it's our sickness, wellness, fitness continuum. What that means is we've got biomarkers in place that are guidelines that can help us to let us know whether we are well, whether we are optimized, or whether we are heading towards sickness if we're not there already. So by having this continuum, we can check our biomarkers regularly and really make sure that we're on the right track And, you know, if we are leaning towards the sickness side of things, well, then we can make sure to prioritize bringing us back to the healthier side of the spectrum, of the continuum. So you can see here on our slide, a body fat percentage between below 18% and below 20% for females is nice and healthy. All right, it's not to say you can't be a little bit above that, but the further we get above that, the more we're heading towards that sickness side of the continuum. So you can see a body fat percentage over 25% for males and 32% for females. You are potentially very unwell. All right, and you're not going to be feeling great. And, you know, you might think, oh, I don't feel too bad, but you don't realize how amazing you can feel by bringing it back to the other side of that continuum there. Another marker, and something that we can definitely measure in the gym, is your blood pressure. And it's something that we're extremely passionate about helping people with at the IOPC. It's something that we spend a lot of time learning more about so that we can help you, because it is so commonly undiagnosed, and, you know, it's known as the silent killer for a reason. It's just that so many people don't understand or don't realize that they have high blood pressure, and every 20 points above the norm or the gold standard, you know, it's shortening your lifespan by decades and has the potential to, you know, for you to drop on the spot. Like, I'm not trying to scare you, but I just want you to realize and to know how important it is to keep these things in check, because it can save your life and help not just for you to live a long, healthy life, but, you know, to have that peace of mind and to know that you're going to have plenty of time with your family, and for your family to know that they're going to have plenty of time with you as well. So while, you know, it is scary, and knowing the information can be a bit daunting, but just understand that we're sharing this with you from a place of love and caring, and that it's because we want you to be around forever, and we want you to make the most of your life. And, you know, the fact that we have these predictors and they so often go ignored or unknown is a real shame, because, like I said, we can definitely help reduce the risk and save everyone a lot of pain and a lot of heartache as well. So other factors include, like, your resting heart rate. If you have a resting heart rate above 100, then, you know, we've got to work on some things. We've got to work on that fitness and help to bring that back down. And we'll obviously chat about how we can do that. And things like your triglycerides, so your cholesterol. A few of you, I know in the gym, have joined purely because at their doctor's recommendations, your cholesterol's high. So we want to try and bring that back to a nice, healthy level. And you can see there on the slide, having your triglycerides under 150 is a nice, healthy metric. So if you haven't done it in a while, it's worth going and getting all of these things checked, and it's really worth getting your blood test and, you know, a bit of a health screen by your doctor every 6 to 12 months if you can. And I mean, it's an inconvenience, I understand, but at the end of the day, like, it can save you a lot. All right, so it's really important to know these numbers. And we've got the in-body scan in the gym as well, so we can also measure your body fat percentage and help you get that under control. All right, so now that we've got an idea of what we want to be looking at when it comes to our health markers, don't be afraid to ask us anytime if you would like to do an in-body scan. If you would like us to check your blood pressure, it only takes a couple of minutes. And these are all things that we can easily change, right? Like, it's simple. It's not necessarily easy. Like, there's a bit of hard work involved, obviously, and changes have to be made to help you do that. But there are definitely all things that we can help you with. All right, so what I want to chat to you a little bit more about now are blue zones. So blue zones are regions in the world where people live much longer than the average lifespan. So we're talking like the average lifespan for people that live in these areas is actually around 100 years old. All right, and researchers have studied these regions to identify factors that contribute to their longevity. Like, why are these people able to live to such an old age. And not only that, a lot of them are still doing so completely independently. Like they're still in the garden, they're still cooking and living for themselves. So, I mean, it's pretty incredible. And certainly we can take a lot from them to help us ourselves live a much longer and independent life. All right, so let's look at some of the key factors we have here as to how these amazing people are living such long, healthy lives. So the majority of the people in these blue zones that are living to 100, or on average to 100, they follow a plant-based diet. So something, and that doesn't mean they're vegetarian by any means. It just means that plants make up a big portion of their diet. If you've ever heard the owner of the gym, Luke, speak about diet and nutrition, he'll often say he'll recommend a vegetarian or plant-based diet that is garnished with meat. Obviously, protein is incredibly important. So we're definitely not encouraging, extreme ends of dieting or that one way is best. But the more, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, things like that you can incorporate, they're associated with living a long, healthy life. So by all means, enjoy a steak, keep your protein nice and high to keep that muscle development and recovery going well, but also make sure that you are getting a lot of your vitamins and nutrients from vegetables and fruits. It's really important. The more colors you can consume, the more you're going to stave off deficiencies when it comes to your vitamins and minerals. So these people are also performing regular physical activity. Look, they're not running marathons by any means, but keeping a nice base level of fitness daily, whether it's, a bit of walking, gardening, and things like that, nothing that's too intense, is what's helping them remain independent for longer. You'll hear us say often, use it or lose it. If you're coming home at the end of the day after sitting down at work all day and you're sitting on the couch, and then you go to do a run and you wonder why your knees hurt, it's like, well, you're not really using them enough to keep them nice and healthy, right? So, I mean, I don't need to tell you guys necessarily, you're all a member of a gym, so you're obviously already taking good steps in staying nice and strong and healthy. But it's just something to be mindful of, is to keep moving a little bit each day. It doesn't have to be extreme, and it's going to help you live that nice, healthy, long life. All right. One thing that's really important in these communities is that they do have a grand sense of community in these blue zone regions. So good, strong social connection, strong family bonds, like they're happy-go-lucky people. They're talking to other people. They're social, I mean, they're not sitting on their phones, that kind of social. They're getting amongst it. They're having meals with big groups of people and going for walks with groups of people. They're out and about, they're outdoors, they're getting plenty of sun and things like that. So maintaining good social connections and having a good time is really important when it comes to living a long, healthy life as well. And this, obviously, all of these factors so far really contribute to low levels of stress and making sure that they have a good sense of purpose and meaning in life. So knowing what it is they want and going after it is giving them that self-satisfaction to make them want to live a long and healthy life. Like if they're getting the most out of each and every day, like I said, it's nothing extreme, but they're maintaining their stress levels, like they're having a good time, they're socializing, they're eating well, they're nourishing well, they're moving regularly, so everything's fluid and feeling good, and it's keeping their stress levels down. So that's another thing that's obviously really important in keeping those health markers, leaning towards the wellness and fitness side of the continuum rather than sickness. Now, they do consume a little bit of alcohol, and it's often in the form of red wine. So, I mean, not that we are ever dead against anything in particular, but it is important to understand that this is a moderate consumption. It's not, going on a bender with the lads and having a dozen beers and following it up with Jaeger bombs. I mean, no one has those anymore, but espresso martinis or things like that. Like, it's about enjoying, a little bit here and there as a bit of a wind down, but they're not, getting on it, having 2 bottles of wine a day or anything like that. So again, moderation is key here. But this also ties into those social connections, low levels of stress. Like, it's important to just find, I don't like to say the word balance necessarily, because to really prioritize some things have to give, but to just feel good without going too far with anything in particular. Makes sense? All right, we'll keep going. Moving on to our next slide, and I'm going to go over 8 key ways that we can help you to optimize and to align a bit more with those guys in the blue zones as well. Now, as I mentioned already, nutrition is a big key factor and something that we really want to, it's something that's well in our control, right? Nobody's forcing us to eat anything in particular, so we can make good choices daily to really help swing us to the healthier side of the continuum and help stave off things like heart disease and diabetes and stuff like that. So again, eating whole foods that are plant-based, focusing on consuming fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, limiting processed foods. In this day and age, there is no way, you do not have to eradicate them altogether. I know myself as a busy mom, like there are nights where it's like, okay, we're just going to have something simple. It's going to be, microwaved. It comes from a packet. But it's about the majority of the time, like making sure that we are getting that good amount of fruit and vegetables daily and things like that. So it's controlling what you can control for the most part. All right, nobody's expecting or asking you to be perfect by any means. It doesn't exist really, but it's just about maintaining control and making great decisions for the most part. All right, then, as we said, we've got movement. So aiming for at least 30 minutes of moderate exercise a daily. Doesn't have to always be smashing out high intensity intervals or anything like that. Some days the exercise you get might only be a walk, and that's okay. We just want to make sure that we are getting a few bouts of resistance training a week to, really help keep our joints and muscles strong and healthy. Sleep's important and something that is really, really honed into me on a daily basis, because I know for myself, as someone who doesn't get a lot of it, I do need more, and I can feel the difference. And it's not just that I'm tired. If you've had a good night's sleep, you'll know the feeling of feeling a bit more alert, being able to speak clearly, and you just don't have that same amount of brain fog that poor sleep quality can have. So it really is important to get at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And it's also going to help, as we said before, manage your stress, which is number 8 down here. And these are in no way, shape or form in order of importance either. So it's important to make sure you get enough sleep. We've got the social connection in there, as we talked about with the blue zone sides, like making sure you're prioritizing time with your family, with your loved ones, with your friends that you enjoy being around. All right, so it's important that you don't consider a social interaction being stressed out with somebody else. It has to be enjoyable. All right, so taking the time to do something you enjoy with people you enjoy is really important. And if you find yourself spending time with people that don't leave you feeling good or don't align with what it is you want to achieve or this healthy lifestyle that you're looking for, then it is not selfish to change it up, to let people go, or to let them know, like, hey, you're bringing me down a bit here. Can we do something that's a bit more fun? Or, let's work on this. So just things to be mindful of. We've got positive mindset, something that is very important to me and should be important to everyone, is having a positive outlook on life and finding the good in everything, and understanding that a lot of what isn't, you have the choice to change. All right, so definitely something to be mindful of there. And I went over this in our mindset seminar, is that it's not only a choice, but it's something that can be trained. Like you might not necessarily feel good currently in your situation currently, or maybe you've had a tough time in the past, but you absolutely have the ability to change it. You might find yourself being the person that, will not necessarily have a whinge, but focus on the negatives a bit too much, and all it takes is just for to think about it a little bit more and think about the positives, but also like saying it out loud. Or if you notice a positive thing in somebody else, let them know and say it out loud, because the more you do it, the more that will come naturally to you, and you will find so much more enjoyment across the board, and you will feel so much better. And by making positive changes in all of these areas in your life, it will compound, and it will get easier to do that, and it will help you. Like, shit happens, you're gonna go off the path, life's gonna throw stuff at you that is just like, oh my goodness, and we get derailed. But by practicing these positive changes across the board more often than not, you'll find it easier to get back on track and to really, really enjoy a long, healthy life. All right, because for all of our behaviors and external environments and things like that can be toxic, can be, can cause negative reactions in the body. Positive things can definitely help, with your immunity. Like getting sunshine can really help reach, like, you think we're solar powered, like it sounds crazy, but you get outside in fresh air and a bit of soft sun on your skin, and you are going to feel better. Things like that. It's not all extremely hard work to change. Just little things, little bits of positivity and good things here and there that we can bring in and really bundle and just create this good, long, healthy life. I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm a good broken record, I can tell you. So yeah, positive mindset's another big one. Hygiene and avoiding toxins. So things like whether you smoke, or perhaps you live with people that smoke, washing your hands regularly. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but during COVID, and I know we're not supposed to talk about COVID a lot, but things like that, like everyone was washing their hands so much more often and using hand sanitizer and things. So like, for all this sickness was around us, there was so many less common colds. There was less people, taking time off or feeling unwell because our hygiene standards were way up there. And yeah, we weren't as close to a lot of different people as well, which definitely helped. Just things like basic good hygiene practices and avoiding toxins, like whether it's smoking, drugs, things like that, practicing safe sex, keeping your environment clean. They're all things that will obviously help in reducing your risk of disease and increasing your chances of living a long, healthy life. Now, another really important factor is constant learning. All right, as much as we want to keep our bodies active and fueling them healthy with great nutrition, we also want to keep our brains nice and active as well. And we obviously do this by reading, learning new things, staying curious, like, finding things. And this is why you'll see it on our board at the gym. We'll have like our would you rathers, because it's not just about picking a side, it's about, it makes us think more. Like, quite often the questions that come up, will make us ask questions, like, what would I decide? Well, that depends on this. And I know that just those questions and asking people what they think has brought up so many great conversations and curiosities, and made us think more and ask different questions and learn more about each other in the way we ask the questions as well. So learning more, staying curious, it really keeps our brain functioning, and it helps us to keep our brains young and active, right? It goes back to that use it or lose it philosophy, where we want to keep using it. We want to keep learning because it's reinvigorating, and it's causing all these neurons to fire in different directions and to grow, and it's something that can really stave off things like Alzheimer's and dementia, and can really help keep our cognitive health and overall well-being on the up, which is obviously our big goal. Now, I think I've talked about pretty much everything. Now, I know I could go into a lot of these things, a hell of a lot more, but come and have the conversation with me. Do some research for yourself. And that's what I really want to sort of inspire and motivate you to do today. Attached or linked below is the workbook that goes alongside this little talk today. And it asks the questions like, in all these 8 different aspects of what you enjoy, what you could be doing, what changes are you thinking about making, and it just makes us think about each of these aspects and how we can help improve them and help us to live a nice, long, healthy life. Again, if you do, or if you would like us to check in with those biomarkers, we have the InBody scan. We can test your body fat. We can help with your nutrition. We can obviously help you with your training as well. We can test your blood pressure to see where it's at. And, you know, even if you've always had a nice, clean bill of health and it's nothing you've ever had to think of in the past, it's really important to check in every now and then and just make sure that we're still on that path, right? Okay, so I really hope this talk has helped you today. And like I said, find some questions, think of some questions, anything that you think I didn't touch on or could have talked more about, let me know, and I'm happy to help as much as I can, or we can learn together and find out more information and help you there. So please let me know if you've got any questions, and look forward to seeing you all in the gym.